Hello and welcome the Midnight Archivist channel. Tonight, let's drift away on a gentle stream of history, back to the serene and elegant world of the Joseon dynasty in Korea. Close your eyes, settle in, and let the soft cadence of my voice guide you into a peaceful slumber as we explore the curious and intricate rules of tea serving in the royal court. So imagine a tranquil pavilion, surrounded by lush gardens and the soft whisper of the wind. Inside, the air is filled with the subtle, earthy aroma of freshly brewed tea. In the Joseon court, tea was not merely a beverage, it was a ritual, an art form, a language of respect and subtlety known as dari. Every movement, every vessel, every sip was governed by a set of precise and meaningful rules. The journey of tea began long before it reached the royal lips. The selection of tea leaves was a matter of utmost importance. Only the finest, most tender leaves, harvested at the peak of spring, were deemed worthy. These leaves were often sourced from specific regions renowned for their superior quality, and their journey to the palace was a carefully managed affair. Once they arrived, they were stored with great care to preserve their delicate flavor and aroma. The water used for brewing was just as crucial. It couldn't be just any water. The ideal source was a pure, natural spring, preferably one from a mountain known for its spiritual purity. Court attendants would travel to fetch this living water, believing it held the very essence of nature, which would in turn enhance the tea's spirit and taste. The water was then heated to a precise temperature, never boiling, as that would be considered too harsh and would scald the delicate leaves, spoiling their subtle notes. The setting for the tea ceremony was a sanctuary of calm. The room, or dasil, was typically minimalist in its decor, allowing the focus to remain on the tea itself. The tea table, low to the ground, was arranged with meticulous precision. Every item had its place: the teapot, the cooling bowl, the teacups, the tea scoop, and the wastewater bowl. The ceramics used were often masterpieces of celadon or white porcelain, their simple beauty reflecting the Confucian and Zen Buddhist ideals of humility and naturalness that permeated Joseon culture. The soft, smooth glaze of the pottery was pleasing to both the eye and the touch, adding a tactile dimension to the experience. The host, or juin, who prepared the tea, was a figure of grace and concentration. Often this was a specially trained court lady, or gungyo. Her movements were slow, deliberate, and fluid, almost like a dance. There was no room for haste or error. The process began with warming the teapot and cups with hot water, a step to ensure the tea's temperature would remain constant. This water was then discarded into a tosugi, or tosugi, a special bowl for wastewater. Next, the host would gracefully use a bamboo scoop to measure the perfect amount of tea leaves and place them into the warmed teapot. The amount was not arbitrary. It was carefully calculated based on the number of guests and the type of tea being served. The first infusion was a quick one. Hot water was poured over the leaves and then immediately poured out. This was a washing of the leaves, awakening their spirit and rinsing away any dust. Then came the true brewing. The host would pour the hot water, now cooled to the perfect temperature in a separate bowl, into the teapot. The water was poured gently, often in a circular motion, to ensure all the leaves were evenly saturated. The steeping time was brief, just a minute or two to extract the purest flavor without any bitterness. The art was in capturing the tea's soul at its most vibrant moment. Serving the tea was another chapter in this silent story. The host would pour the brewed tea into the cups, not one by one, but by pouring a little into each cup and then going back and forth. This technique, called toubei or toubei, ensured that every guest received tea of the exact same strength and flavor. It was an expression of equality and shared experience, a core value in the ceremony. The cups were never filled to the brim. Leaving space was a sign of modesty and restraint. When a guest received their cup, they would hold it with both hands, the right hand for support, the left hand cupping the bottom. This was a gesture of respect, acknowledging the care and effort that went into preparing the tea. Before sipping, one would first appreciate the tea's color, a beautiful pale jade or a warm golden hue. Then, they would inhale its fragrance, letting the subtle aromas of grass, flowers, or earth fill their senses. Finally, they would take a small, quiet sip, allowing the liquid to coat their palate, discerning its complex flavors. In the Joseon court, silence was golden during this part of the ritual. The focus was entirely on the sensory experience, a moment of mindful presence. The rules extended to the guests as well. They were expected to be attentive and appreciative. Making loud slurping noises or draining the cup too quickly was considered unrefined. Instead, the tea was to be enjoyed in 3 to 5 small, thoughtful sips. Between sips, the cup would be placed back on the table, and the guest might engage in quiet, contemplative conversation with the host, often about poetry, nature, or the tea itself. The type of tea served also held significance. Green tea, or nocha, was the most common, celebrated for its refreshing and clarifying qualities. However, other varieties like fermented huangcha or floral teas might be served depending on the season, the time of day, or the specific occasion. Each tea had its own story, its own character, and its own ideal preparation method. This entire process, from fetching the water to the final sip, was a meditation in motion. It was a way to cultivate inner peace, to show respect, and to connect with nature and with each other on a deeper level. For the kings and queens of Joseon, the tea ceremony was a respite from the heavy burdens of rule, a moment of structured tranquility in a life of constant pressure. It was a reminder of the beauty found in simplicity, patience, and mindfulness. As we imagine these serene moments, let the rhythm of this ancient ritual soothe your mind. Picture the gentle steam rising from the teacup, carrying with it a sense of calm and history. Feel the weight of your body sinking deeper into comfort as the court of Joseon fades into the soft landscape of your dreams. The curious rules of tea serving were not just rules, they were threads in a beautiful tapestry of culture, a quiet chronicle of a time when every small act was filled with intention and grace. Thank you for joining me on this peaceful journey tonight. I hope these stories have brought a sense of tranquility to your evening. If you've enjoyed this quiet chronicle, please consider following for more tales to help you drift off. May your sleep be deep and your dreams be sweet. Good night.